You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the farce revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, from close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. secret is wherever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Good morning, St. George. Happy December. Today is December 1st, and as we start into this last month of 2024, I'm excited to be here on behalf of the Centers for Spiritual Living, St. George, as we bring you our Sunday celebration. Let's start with our purpose, mission, and values, which kind of is our compass for the direction we're going as an organization. Our purpose is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life that they love using science of mind and spirit, principles, and practices. Our vision is that CSL St. George is a community-focused center actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and friends so that all may live their best lives. And our mission, the third part of that trifecta, that CSL is an open, inclusive, and evolving spiritual community that supports its purpose and vision through the following. Sacred wisdom celebrations, similar to what we're doing this morning. Empowering transformative education. We've had a couple classes already this year and looking forward to more. Youth and young adult programs. Those things are in the planning stages for us. A dynamic music ministry, as you'll hear from Alan today, that is live and kicking. Community inreach and community outreach. There's a lot of examples of that go on week in and week out every month. Today's service team, as you probably guessed, I am our host today. I am Bill Smith, and I am a practitioner here at the center. Marina Anderson is really driving this bus. She handles everything on the tech side and is making all this happen seamlessly on your screen and on ours too. Alan Stanley is going to be providing our musical entertainment and upliftment today. And we really appreciate the work that Alan does for us on that. And then Stephanie Starrett, another one of our practitioners here at the center, she's going to do the reading and the invocation, not necessarily in that order. And today's talk is from our senior minister, Reverend Joe Kovach, and he's going to talk about not only how we can stick the landing, but how we can do so standing on solid air. Yeah, stick around for that. So now we're going to bring on Alan, and he's going to do a little picking and some grinning for us. And I think this is a Karen Drucker song, right?
That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Hello, everybody. Happy December. So we're going to relax a little bit and sing this laid-back song by Karen Drucker, and then Star's going to come in, Stephanie, and offer our invocation, and we'll come back and just sing a little bit more. So welcome. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. In your eyes I see a light that's shining through. You radiate such grace, so I bow to you. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. You give your loving heart to everyone you see. The way you live your life inspires me. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you.
Thank you, Alan. All right. What I'm going to do is what we call pray us in. And we use a form of treatment. And what that really is my way. And each is individual, each practitioner is individual, but it is a way where we do this same thing the song was about. We bring it into the oneness. And so as I pray from myself, there is nothing excluded. Everything is one. And so here we go. And so knowing that there is only one mind, and knowing that that mind is infinite intelligence, and that that mind is my mind now, I know that it is the truth for each and every one of us. Because of this inclusivity, I sing and pray from this open heart that is all of us. And so knowing that, I open this beautiful month of December, learning to stick to the landing and also walking on the pure air that I call spirit, which runs in and through and as each and every one of us. And as I do this, I know that this service is going to be delightful, it's going to be eye-opening, and it's going to be beautifully run. And so I release it into the law, which is part of the one. It is the law that makes it so. As together, I say yes, and in agreement with that, I let it go. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Stephanie. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste. I see the beauty in you. Now we're going to bring Stephanie back to read for us a little bit.
Okay, I came up with a couple of quotes and a short story. So here we go. You know, if you surrendered to the air, you could ride it. That is a statement from Toni Morrison in her book, The Song of Solomon. And that makes me wonder, wow, okay. And another one, don't look for me in the human shape. I love this. I am inside your looking, said Rumi. That's an interesting one to get into. And the short story is 5 centuries ago, that's a long time, halfway around the world in an Indian village called Punjab, there lived a young man named Baba Nanak, who was deeply troubled by the violence around him, Hindus and Muslims in turmoil. Makes us wonder about today, right? One day he disappeared on the bank of a river for 3 days. No one could find him. People thought he was dead or drowned. But Nanak emerged on the 3rd day with a vision of the oneness of humanity and of the world. This vision threw him into a state of ecstatic wonder, and he began singing songs of devotion called shabads, praising the divine within him and around him. Love made him see with new eyes. Everyone around him was a part of him that he did not yet know. I see no stranger, he said. I see no enemy. Nanak taught that all could see this truth. There is a voice inside each of us, names itself as separate from you, but separateness is the illusion. When we quiet the chatter in our heads through music or stillness, the boundaries begin to disappear. We are part of one another. Joy rushes in long after the moment passes. We can choose to remember the truth of our interconnectedness, that we belong to one another. He became the founder of Sikhism. And the last quote that I want to say is from the Gospel of Thomas, chapter 22, 4-7. When you make the two one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the outer as the inner, and the above as the below, then you will enter the kingdom. And I know this to be true. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was great. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Well, I don't know about walking on air, but I'm just going to clean up my side of the street, I think, here. Little Sue Riley song. Sing along, please. Well, I'm sweeping up my own side of the street, cleaning up the clutter, pulling up the weeds, finding out it's quiet enough, just taking care of my own stuff. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street. Tending my own garden every day, taking time to stop and smell the roses on the way, planting what I want to see, pruning what's not serving me. I'm tending my own garden every day. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street, clearing up the clutter, pulling up the weeds, finding out it's quiet enough, taking care of my own stuff. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street. Now we're going to tend the garden. And we're going to do exactly what we're supposed to do here, I think. I am exactly where I'm meant to be. Every stake I take pulls me closer to my dream. Is private dream. It's not what's exact for me. I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to be. I'm stepping up the roadside of the street, clearing out the clutter, picking up the weeds, finding out it's quite alright, just taking care of my own stuff. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street. All right, now. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street, clearing out the cutter, pulling up the weeds, finding out it's quite enough, just taking care of my own stuff. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street. I'm sweeping up my own side of the street.
And here I am. I was all like into it, and then I saw my face. How are you, Alan?
I'm doing great. We kind of took a different path, but I think it came out just fine.
Hey, you know what? We did a great job. And hi, Bill. Come on in. That's a great song, Alan. Thank you, by the way. Cleaning up our own side of the street. And good morning, Bill. How are you?
Good morning, Reverend. Do you want to introduce me, or should I introduce you? I'm not sure.
Everybody,
what we're doing.
I would like now to formally introduce our lead practitioner, our spiritual coach, Bill Smith, who words cannot express his value to our center. Bill, please take it away.
Oh, thank you. And I would like to, with that warm introduction, I'd like to introduce our senior minister, who does so much for our center and is going to tell us today how we can stand on solid air while we're sticking a landing. I'm really looking forward to this one.
So am I. I wish I could sit back. It's been entertaining so far. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Stephanie, for our prayer and reading. Excuse me. Yeah, and thank you for Marita, who's in the back making this a fun time. And good morning to all. Happy December. As you've heard, I swear I'm saying that all the time, that I can't believe it's another month, and it's another month. So let's just pause, and I'm hoping from our center to your family that wherever you are, you had a blessed and happy and joyful Thanksgiving. And let us not limit it to just the fourth Thursday of November. Let us continue to be grateful for and thankful for all that we have all the time. Let us keep in mind we live in an amazing country. In spite of whatever your political views are, look, this is the best country going on in the world right now. We have ease and comfort everywhere. And so let us not take that for granted. As we move into December, we're going to make this a December to remember. And let me start off by, continuing. I've already started, I guess, by thanking Reverend Rachel Dilling for her beautiful talk last week, closing up the month on abundance. And so we're going to switch topics. As you've heard, the monthly theme for December is sticking the landing. And today's talk is standing on solid air. Now, sticking the landing, that's a reference to this idea that after great discipline and practice as a gymnast, just hours and hours of working through the details and making things exact and putting a specific routine in place. The end goal is to do all that and, of course, stick the landing, as they say. And so December, being the last month of the year as we celebrate, we're kind of coming into that last part where we want to end on a high note. We want to stick the landing. And all year long, the theme has been a grand rising. And so what better way to end it is to just boom, be on our two best feet, just be joyful for where we are, looking back with no regrets. Because why? Because we're always doing the best we can with what we have and where we're at. And so we're going to dive in this month and look at our accomplishments for the most part. And yet I want to start by going backwards to some of the basics. I don't know if that's backwards, but let's start with some of the basics, which is our thought. It's a very powerful statement. We hear it all the time, and yet I don't think we recognize the power in this idea that everything is created twice. I know it's part of the life coaching program I use, created by Mary Morrissey. That's one of the first things she says. Everything is created twice. You just don't know the power in this. It's created first in mind, and then if we hold it enough, it becomes form. So everything around us was nothing but a thought first. And our thinking puts power into it, right? Our thinking and our beliefs have a powerful influence on our lives. And based on today's scientific wisdom, we can recognize that matter, all that is around us physically, is but an emanation of spirit. In other words, spirit giving of itself. And quantum physics backs this up as well. We recognize, and they have shown, that everything, no matter how solid it looks, is in vibration. And that includes, I remember the example of they were showing a table leg, and you could just see all the atoms vibrating, but you have to move into it close enough to see it. And so as I was preparing this talk, that brought me back to the idea I share often is of the dimmer switch. And it's kind of, again, but this time looking at it as a dimmer switch of power and presence of spirit, from all the way from thought, which would be like ethereal. In my mind, it's not, but it's like a gaseous, right? It goes to nothingness, and all the way as you change the dimmer switch up into form, into something solid. So thus, solid air. Our thought it becomes solid the more we focus on it. And therefore, the very ground on which we stand, as we say it is solid, we also know that everything is in vibration. Excuse me. Stephanie did a great job of pointing out that the all is one, and oneness is all there is. Yet this idea of God, of life, is we break it down in order to understand it in science of mind into three aspects, which is mind, law, and form. So mind is thought. Everything starts in thought, in the unformed substance of consciousness. Now, law, as we focus our thought, law is the part that then is the action part, is the process of becoming. And then eventually, as it comes into form. Yet it is always of the one. It's just a different vibration. Again, that dimmer switch, how high a vibration, how low a vibration. Solid things are very low vibration. They are dense. They are slow moving. Thus, they look to be in form. And yes, we're going to weave this into how this is powerful for ourselves. Ernest Holmes talks about, and I've mentioned many times, he says what I believe, or what we believe statements, way back in the 1927 Science of Mind magazine. And he wrote something called, it's called What We Believe, but also known as the Declaration of Principle. And he mentions some specifics that we believe, and that being oneness is a big part of it. In our lives, everything flows from our beliefs, and whether they are helpful or harmful, that's a matter of our individual thought filters. In other words, our belief system. So as we align our individual minds, which is still a part of God, still a part of the one mind, right? Then the law says yes to our thoughts. That is the idea of us having free will to create without limitation, and that which when we create, it is supporting life. And our faith is a faith of positivity, of good with a capital G. Or as Ernest Holmes says, religious science is a religion of joy, free from fear. It is a religion of faith justified by results. That's where we get the religious and the science. If we have a faith, it must be true, and it must be universally true, not just true for us who think it and understand religious science, but no matter what name you call it, right? So just like we have certain other scientific laws that are provable, like gravity, for example, it operates the same for each person, no matter who you are, no matter where you came from. It is universal. So the foundational belief on which our whole teaching stands is, again, one of the we believes, and he says, Ernest Holmes says, we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. So there's one cause and effect, but cause is, we call it God, we call it Spirit. There is only one. It's the same source of all that is happening. In Star Wars, they call it the Force. There is one power, and we can use it. And we do use it. Are we using it consciously or not? Are we aware of the power or not? So the name that we give this God, life, is really, in essence, unimportant. It's the energy that we put into it and the truth that we understand it as. So whatever name works for you to convey this divine presence, this divine love, then please use that name. And that name that may change, I know it's changed over time, it's changed over cultures, it's changed within groups, small groups, and that's okay. Yet we're all talking about the perfect, infinite presence of life. And it doesn't mind, right? We release this idea of an old man sitting in a chair, judging us and telling us what is good and what is bad. God is love, period. And if it's just as if a little child working in education, I've worked from kindergarten all the way up to high school, and especially the young ones, they forget your name. And do I care if they call me by the wrong name? No, not at all. I still love them for as they are. I recognize them as doing their divine best. And I think nothing less of that which is the presence of all, that is living us, breathing us right now. Now, this oneness shows up for each of us. So the one becomes the multitude or multiplicity, the many. And yet we are all and always within the one. It is within us. We are within it. That's why there is no separation. That is where Jesus says, I and the Father are one. He recognizes there's no real separation. And as we choose to deepen our awareness, whether it be just through living or specifically taking time to meditate or pray or do other spiritual practices, we get to the level of understanding that God is within us in our own perfect way and that we are within God. There's no separation. Ernest Holmes talks about the new, and he says the new age demands that fear and superstition surrounding religious convictions be removed, and that the truth, plain, simple, and direct, be presented, that people may learn to live now, in the present, with the assurance that the eternal God is their refuge. I really want to hammer this point now, because I have lived a long time waiting for the perfect time, waiting for the job, waiting for the money, waiting for the right relationship, waiting. And in all that time, I'm still living, but I'm not really consciously living in the present moment where it's the only time we really have, right? Tomorrow is now. Today is here and now. Yesterday, if I bring those thoughts with me, but I can only operate in this now. So no matter what's going on around us, we are choosing, right? We are invoking feelings based on old beliefs of separation until we become awake, right? So it's, again, going back to the analogy of the gymnast, we're practicing, we're tumbling, we're failing at our craft so that we get better, but we have to be active in it, right? Gymnasts they do vision, but they don't just sit on and wait, okay, I see myself tumbling and there it is, and then they get up and do it perfect once. That's not how it works. We must be disciplined disciples, right? We must practice with discipline our own faith. Rumi, I haven't shared a Rumi quote in a while. He says, "Don't look for me in human shape. I am in your looking." Now, Stephanie shared this earlier, and I'm glad, because it's really, I love this. Don't look for me in human shape. I am inside your looking. In other words, Rumi's talking about the presence of God is who we are. Each of us looking at nothing other than God. So, but it's God in its infinite ways, because life is infinite. And so we're forever having these new experiences of looking at life, looking at others' life, but it is one life, the same life, from different angles. And what we want to work at doing and waking up to is practicing without that fear, right? So these gymnasts have fear, right? They recognize that they could tumble, they could fall, they could fail, especially when it means the most in competition and whatnot, right? And yet they control that. We can never shut out fear. What we can do, though, is choose to focus on all the positive times that we have succeeded. Now, part of one of the declarations, the declaration that I started earlier, he continues to say, "This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation." So the more we create, we're not using up God. There is no finite amount of resources, no matter what we think, because God is infinite. So whatever it is, we recognize that we co-create this through the one source. And that means air, that means oil, that means water, that means whatever it is we're looking for, because God is the creator of all. And we recognize that God is good, right? And so God is more than its creation. It's not just in its creation, it's all. It's the spaces in between. As they say, it's the note, musical note being played, and it's the space until the next musical note. So in other words, we each are blessed with a divine individual perspective. And our perspective is just a matter of what we're looking at in relation to where the dimmer switch of vibration is. Am I up high, higher vibration, where I'm feeling good vibes, joy, laughter, things are working out? Everything I see are through the eyes of it's okay, it's going to work out, positivity. Or is it a little lower and slower, feeling a little heavier, feeling a little more tired, feeling a little slower, feeling like, I don't know if I want to get this done. Look at all the work I have to go to work tomorrow, right? But we are the ones that have our fingers on the divine dimmer switch. So the next big part of sticking this landing and recognizing how we are standing on solid air, again, grounding in our faith, is that recognizing how God incarnates, or I looked that up, I'm trying to find an easier way to say it because I want everyone to understand it. A simple version is spirit comes into form, it incarnates with life as all people, right? So, and in this, Ernest Holmes calls the soul, so that power within us, that God spark within us, that eternal and forever expanding essence of who we are is God. Okay, it's not a part. I mean, in essence, it's a part, but it's never separated. Again, for us in this world, we look at things as separated, but it's a battery that never runs out. And Ernest Holmes talks about the kingdom of heaven is within us, and yet available to all to experience to the degree that they are aware of it. And that the ultimate goal of life is, is to be free of all discord, and that everybody will obtain this. So he saw basically a vision of everybody living and recognizing this oneness, this eternal love within each. Now, the kingdom of heaven is the recognition that we are divine. That's what that stands for. What is heaven? Oh, everything's perfect. Everything works out. It feels great. I am love, 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 and joy, joy, joy. We can feel that now. We just have to raise our dimmer switch. And it's obviously not a physical thing. It's a conscious thing. It's a thought thing. And let me tell you, I've been really working lately at becoming aware of my thoughts and how easy I tend to go with the flow when it's not flowing in the direction I want it to. And I'm not just talking about angry, but yesterday I was feeling tired, kind of, and I'm going to say for no reason, a very heaviness. And constantly I was like, okay, I'm feeling tired. Now I'm not making myself wrong, but what can I do to feel okay about that? And those thoughts, I had to reach for them because they're not on automatic. They haven't been a part of my regular routine as much as I thought they were. That's a good awareness too. Thought I was doing better, but I realized, right, we're looking at tapes of ourselves like gymnasts do, like athletes do, and go, okay, I can tweak this, I can work on this, and live a better, freer, fuller, healthier life. Now, coming from Hinduism, they talk about something called Brahman. And the quote is, if one knows it, capital IT, think of it as source, if one knows it as Brahman, the non-being, they become merely the non-existent. If one knows that Brahman is all, in other words, then are they known as the real in existence. So this comes from the Upanishads. So what the author is talking about is we are both the beingness and the doingness and the expression of God, source, or what they call Brahman. Now, if we only see ourselves, like so many of us are trying to get there. Where is there? There is here. I'm going to live in this, I don't know, heavenly place where we're on clouds or so forth. But that's not what any of our master teachers have taught us before. That heaven is here now. It's a matter of experiencing it, right? So the kingdom is here and again now. In this present moment, all right, we start within it and can never wander outside of its borders. We are always within and happening and being within God. So God's not some remote principle. We can only learn through our experience, and we have to put things into words, but words are often limiting unless we really pick up the vibration of the word. So the words that we speak are powerful. How often do we speak words of love? Using the word love, life as life force, power, peace, beauty, presence. Let's add these to our vocabulary. That raises the dimmer switch. Why? Because what we think about and talk about comes about, and we want it to come about. That's what we're looking to do. Now, the author of this quote is Sri Aurobindo. So he is another wise man. And he says, when the dividing ignorance is cured, which gives us the sense of a gulf between life and matter. I would say that right. Something sounded wrong. When the dividing ignorance is cured, which gives us the sense of a gulf between life and matter, it is difficult to suppose that mind, life, and matter will be found to be anything else than one energy triply formulated. Again, thought, the action, and the form. Triple. That's our triune nature that we believe in. So this foundational belief really reminds us that we're not weak. We're not, as some faiths teach, born of sin and just left to grovel about ourselves and good luck in a limited, harsh reality. Now, we can experience that. If that's a dimmer switch you want, put yourself there. Or as we recognize more of the freedom and the flow of consciousness that what are the thoughts I'm thinking right now, matter in this moment. Okay? As Ernest Holmes says, actually I had a quote, sorry, there's no place where we begin and God leaves off. It is all part of life. So we are God, being God as ourselves, right? Look around, whoever's next to you, say that. Say, did you know that you are God, being God? and I see you, God. The last of these declarations I wanted to share with you is where Ernest really kind of it goes against what some other of the past teachers, great teachers, have taught, and he believes that using our intuition, we are revealers of what we would call truth, because we have the ability to have a greater level of personal contact with the divine. Before, many of the faiths teach that you have to kind of level up and so on, and you're not as learned or as wise as so-and-so, and yet we recognize that we each are connected. We cannot not be connected, because all there is God happening, and that this is our experience. This life is us in attempts to get in touch with that nature ourselves, right? I believe we choose to do this. I believe we come from pure spirit knowing, and I believe we have this experience so that we can look at different aspects without already knowing it all. That's just a personal belief, and many would agree. And so whether we look at things as good and life-affirming or bad, right, that God hears us. Now, again, not an old man on the throne, but just like the soil hears the seed. Whatever seed the soil receives, it doesn't say, well, I don't want to plant tomatoes today. It just says, okay, my job as a soil is to love and nourish and grow, and that's what it does. And so we must be wise. We must be wise gymnasts, athletes, gardeners, really, of thought. As we recognize the truth of what we are planting, all we have to do is pause, look around, and see the life that I'm living now. And can we make adjustments? Part of this, making adjustments, is prayer. And Ernest Holmes, and he quotes on prayer, he says, effective prayer is an acknowledgement of the presence and power. Take that in for a minute. As we pray, we are literally acknowledging, and that's the first step. We acknowledge the presence and the power of one. He recognizes it as the presence and power of good. It is an acknowledgement of this presence as close to us, and this power is acting, again, I feel like I'm reading off. It is an acknowledgement of this presence as close to us, and this power is acting on our acceptance. So in other words, it's a twofold contract. We're saying that God is all. We're saying that, but we also, that's the out thought. We have to be receiving of it. If God is all, then I am God. Now, I'm not all of God in this moment, but I am of God, and I am the power that it is I am able to use. Okay, but to the level of my own understanding. Now, I can hear your understanding, but have I practiced that? Is it part of my beingness, my vibration? So as a result, why is this important? Because in our faith that we believe that we are able to, in the healing, I should say we are able to, no. We believe in the healing of the sick and shifting life's conditions as a result of right use of mind. Now, I don't want to say, because I said we heal. No. I don't do the healing. Practitioners don't do the healing. And that's why it's very important to note that it's not through the power of our mind, but as we align with the power that is, we become a conduit of consciousness, of spirit. That is what does the healing. And there really isn't even really a healing. It's moving that dimmer switch from lack to the fullness. That's what we call a miracle. We say, it came out of nowhere because we were finally open, truly open to it, seeing ourselves worthy as living, as making this a December to remember, right? Let's make that our goal. It's very easy to get distracted, and I mean, we have a great holiday that we celebrate in the U.S. here, Christmas or Hanukkah or other faiths, but it's a focus on the ending of a year, the beginning of another one. We're doing this together. We're moving into newer, more positive, loving times as a world, forget as a nation. And we, and Centers for Spiritual Living, we have it going on. And I had a man call me the other day, and he was telling me about how he writes. He wanted to learn about churches and centers across the country. And he said he started by flying to San Francisco and working east and around as he could from there. And he started off there in San Francisco, and he said he went to a church there, and he began taking photos and talking to some people, and he spotted a golden telephone on the wall. And next to it was a sign that says $100,000 a minute. And so he found the pastor of that church, and he says, what is this? And he says, well, that phone is a direct line to God itself. And so we have this available. And he thought this odd. He had never heard of this. But yet, as he continued to visit churches all across the nation, he went to Seattle, he went to Minneapolis and Chicago, there, churches, centers, they all have these phones, $100,000 a minute. They could talk directly to God. And finally, he called me, and he visited with me, and he noticed I had a phone as well, and a golden phone. And yet he says, I have to ask, your sign is different. He says it's 25 cents for a phone call. Everybody else is $100,000 a minute. Why is yours 25 cents? And I said to the man, well, it's really kind of a simple answer. He says, we recognize that God is within you, so we consider that a local call. Breathe. So what am I saying? In religious science and Centers for Spiritual Living, we recognize that you are already perfect as you are. You are already complete and yet expanding as you are. That you are born of loving kindness, that your soul is perfect, is of God, is eternal, because God is eternal givingness. And our job is to really, in my opinion, and many, just live joyfully, find the best way to live joyfully. And we tend to make a muck of that. It sounds like, well, then wouldn't it be great if I could just do whatever I wanted in a joyful way, not just meaning, be hurtful or whatnot, but just I want to go out and do what I love to do. And yet we don't do that. So let's begin to review some of our tapes over the past year. Let's rewind a little bit. Let's practice let's be disciplined and look at maybe where we can improve, so that in a few weeks from now, at the end of this year, we know we're going to stick that landing. And now, I do have one more quote, but one of the thoughts that came to me was in the book Illusions. And in the book, there's a part where he talks about swimming in the earth. And I remember reading this with my son when he was younger, much younger, and he remembers it. But I remember him lighting up. He's like, "You can't swim in the earth, Dad." And I go, well, according to this book, he was. And part of the book was the idea of recognizing vibration, that it's all one vibration. And as we attune to that vibration, that we can experience miraculous things. And so the man dove into the earth and was swimming in the earth because he was one with it. He didn't see himself as separate. And that vision holds in my head. So I wanted to share that with you because I like to have fun doing this. Spirituality and recognizing our love, and it should be a joyful process. It shouldn't necessarily be difficult. And a good time for a quote from Hafiz. He says, "God is conducting the affairs of the whole universe while throwing wild parties in a treehouse on a limb in your heart." So whenever we feel like maybe we are lost or whatnot, let us just pause and know that presence is here now. Again, the kingdom of heaven, it's not out there. It's here now. And so let us recognize our divine nature. Let us recognize that it is real, that we are worthy, that which is solid is still changeable. Any aspect of our life is changeable. As a matter of fact, everything changes, and it must be, because it's always flowing. There's no really technical stop and standing still. Life is forever flowing and giving of itself. So let us do that in joy, shall we? Because it's unlimited. Swimming in the earth. Let that sink in. So as we finish, came up with a great affirmation, and I believe I first heard this from Reverend Lloyd Barrett, who you guys got a chance to meet if you were there a couple weeks ago at our in-person service. And he says, nothing is too wonderful to happen, and nothing is too good to be true. Let's say that again. Nothing is too wonderful to happen, and nothing is too good to be true. And take that with you for this month, right? And watch that dimmer switch just naturally rise, because we're expecting it. We're in that influence. We're in that intuition. We're in that expectation of joy overflowing. And so let's bring this into conclusion with prayer. And simply, what is prayer? Is acknowledging this life as one, knowing that there are no boundaries to God itself. All and everything is within it, and itself knows nothing of lack or limitation or bad and good, because it's all itself. We have these experiences, and we now get the opportunity to pause, to go within. What does that mean? To just pause and follow my breath, follow my heartbeat. Just like feeling almost like as we focus on a cat purring, and our mind goes to this place where there is just only thought, peace, knowing of truth. And we shut out any distractions from the love that we are, from the love that God is, from the love that is ever flowing to and through and as ourselves. And we just hold ourselves as thankful, as grateful, as appreciative of all that we are already blessed with. We are blessed with so much, and we are grateful, and that we are blessed with so much that we are able to give without concern. We are knowing that our thoughts, if there's a situation we're in, there's a circumstance we're in that we would like it to change, we know that we begin to practice the methodology of controlling our thoughts, controlling in the sense of directing. We are the directors. We recognize what seeds we are planting, and we are planting seeds that bring a greater, freer, understanding experience of our lives. We are grateful for all the wisdom, the sacred wisdom that has been shared already, and yet we are grateful for the wisdom that will come yet to continue to assist us in freeing our minds and truly recognizing that the kingdom of heaven is available now, that Christ consciousness, as we will celebrate in a few weeks, we open ourselves to it. There's nothing that we have to do other than come from it. So grateful, as I know that each one of us sticks our landing each and every day, living in the present moment, living in our blessings. Life is good with a capital G. And let's affirm this together by saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Joe. That was great. I love that. I love that analogy of the dimmer switch. But why do you look at it from the negative side as a dimmer switch? Can't you just call it a lighting switch, an illuminating switch?
That's a great point.
Yeah,
an illumination switch.
But it's kind of a rhetorical question. But I feel like you have to answer it. But I just think that's one of the greatest metaphors out there for consciousness, and I think it's one of the greatest gifts that Science of Mind gives us, is that ability to know and be our own conscious observer of our thoughts and of our condition, and to know that we have control of that. It's just amazing. So
absolutely. And have you made a call? 25 cents.
25 cents. And I imagine that there's a lot of people that are watching this right now who are probably not in your or my age range, who are going, what's the difference between a local call and one that's not local?
It's a good
So
point.
if you grow up with the only thing you've ever had is a cell phone in your hand, you
Yeah.
don't know what a long distance call is and how devastating that could have been to the bank account 20 years ago.
Or even when we had to pay for our minutes on our cell phone, right?
Right?
Remember
Yeah.
those?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Are you going to be on a Zoom to talk about the
Absolutely.
different?
Yes. Come join in, share, and discuss our topics today afterwards.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. All right. Wow. What a moving talk. But let's move on to some announcements today. As always, if you are in need of a prayer or just want to have positive prayer, you're welcome to join any one of the practitioners in our organization. Go to our website, cslstgeorge.org, and go to the About page, and there is a little bio of each one of us. And if you click on it, you can send us a quick email. And if you'd like us to call you back and pray with you, we can do that. Or if you just want a kind of like a silent prayer, just tell us what you want, and all the practitioners will end up praying for you. Our next in-person service is a week from today, December 8th. And we will also have one later in the month, the 22nd. Those will be at the lodge and in St. George. Zoom conversation today at noon. We can talk about the dimmer switch or the illuminator switch, and all are invited. Look in the newsletter for the how to get on that Zoom call today. Core Council. As a member of Core Council, I can tell you that we could really use some help. We're down in our numbers because some people have kind of timed out. When you sign up for Core Council, there's a 3-year term that you sign up for it, and then afterwards you have to move off. And unfortunately, a couple of our key people have moved off, and we're looking to fill a couple spots. And I think we have 3, maybe 4 spots available. And as we start to, as we continue to grow and start looking for our permanent home and start working on the details, or continue to work on the details for 2 services a month, soon hopefully going to 3 and 4 and every Sunday, we could really use some good people on the Core Council to help out with that. So if you're interested, talk to any of the members of the Core Council, and in particular our Core Council president, who is Marina Anderson. As we met last week, there was a couple people that approached me afterwards and said, "Hey, we're thinking about doing something for the winter solstice celebration, which is December 21st." And I said, "Great, let's do something." So they're working on a couple ladies are working on what to do, and it's going to be on the 21st, which is the day of the winter solstice at 4:00 p.m. And they're talking about what it's going to be in. It sounds like fun. I'm looking forward to it. I just can't wait for the details, which should be out soon. And we'll keep everybody posted when we hear about that. All right. Abundant prosperity. Everything we do is about prosperity and abundance. And what we do here at this center is so predicated on all of our generosity and giving, and also on the tail end of it, our center gives abundantly to some very important organizations every quarter, and I'm very proud of the work we do there, and I know that a lot of us are. So there's several ways that you can give, either online at the PayPal link, or you can go to our website and use the QR code, and that'll take you to it. Or you can send us a check by what we now call snail mail. We're at Box 3132 in St. George, 84771. Upcoming in person next Sunday is Reverend Joe is going to be talking about Hearts Ablaze. And then the following week on the 15th online, he'll be talking about flowing ground. So we're going from solid air to flowing ground. Looking forward to it. All right. So now all the members of today's service will kind of magically reappear on the screen. And we will do our closing affirmation. And Marina, is that all of us?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. All of a sudden I realized I wasn't muted anymore. Yes, that's it. Go for it, Bill.
All right. All right. So I'll kick us off here with our closing affirmation. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it. I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is becoming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
See you
See
next
y'all
week.
soon.
Bye.
Boom, boom.
Happy December.